All right, hey guys, welcome back here to Tactical Rifleman. This is the part where I ask you guys if you can hear me okay. I don't think my mic is spiking too bad right now. I've been having a great day today. I have been hanging out with Randy Wurst, but also I've got Coach Kevin Jimerson from Texas A&M Corps Cadets Marksmanship Team. He drove all the way up here from Texas last night, and we have been filming TR videos all day long. I am wore out. I'm sunburned. Little cuts all over the place from Spall. We shot some. This is a multi-hit level 4 plate by RMA, the King of Armor, and I'm here to tell you, it's definitely level 4 multi-hit. I finally got a hole through it, but I had to use my Bearcat 50 cal. So I promised I was going to kill it. If you give me armor, I'm going to kill it. Sometimes you got to go big, right? I want to thank Venture Surplus, our sponsor, for hanging out with us again. Guys, they've been sponsoring our live streams for quite a few months in a row now. Why? Because they are a good company and they support good people. That's you guys, right? You're not just your typical ass clown college kids that just are watching YouTube and glamour this and that and tickety talk and click clack and all these other things just for entertainment. You guys are actually here for educational purposes, and that's good stuff. So I like Venture Surplus. Their motto is Venture brings the Army surplus store to your door. And what they're talking about is basically for you to get stuff, you just have to drive to like Fort Bragg or Fort Campbell or wherever, and outside all those bases are those Army surplus stores. And you go in there and you can get good military equipment, slightly used because, you know, it's been used by the military. And some of it's brand new stuff, right? But that's where you had to go get mil spec stuff. You couldn't get it at Walmart. You couldn't get it at Kmart. Now you can go to Venture Surplus. So I think that's pretty cool. Free shippings, free returns. It's good stuff indeed. All right, so anyways, I want to ask you guys, how y'all doing, all right? You guys know the deal. If you're new with us here, we do our live streams. I'm actually looking at my video cameras. I'm looking at Coach on the cameras. Coach is still cleaning up over at the shed, taking care of the place. I just grilled him a steak. We always grill steaks out here. I promised him good ribeye steak. We still got, I believe we have Steve Holland coming tonight still. So I got a great show for you guys. I apologize. Some of you had a hard time finding the live stream tonight. It turns out that, YouTube doesn't want you guys to be able to watch my videos. Who saw that coming, right? That is some good coffee right there, guys. A lot of you guys asked me about my coffee. 8 shots of espresso. All right, most good espresso machines make 2 shots at a pop. So you run 4 of those. Freshly grind the beans before you do it. You'll find you get more flavor that way. You also get more caffeine. A light roast or a medium roast has more caffeine than a dark roast. I prefer dark roast. I prefer the taste of it. So I do 8 shots of dark espresso roast, freshly ground, and then I froth the Italian sweet cream. So call me a sissy if you want. I like my sugar and my creamer in my coffee. I thin it just enough. You can see how it's still thicker than, it's a lot thicker than regular coffee would be right now. That is good coffee, guys. That is some good freaking coffee. All right, if you're interested in my coffee, and it's not my coffee, by the way, but if you're interested in it, you go to 5 Stone Frontline Coffee, and the code there is TR10. Saves you 10%. Full disclosure, I do not make a dime off of it. I don't. He's one of you. Eric hangs out here. Eric Townsend's good people. He takes a lot of money from the coffee and he goes and does missionary trips overseas. And he's good people. Good people indeed. So anyways, 5 Stone Frontline Coffee. Use TR10. It's good stuff. It's good stuff indeed. All right. My week has been a zoo. My last couple weeks have been a zoo. Those of you that haven't heard, my son, last week, I've got stuff I got to get ready for Mountain Readiness Expo. Me and the wife actually leave Thursday morning. And me and the wife were taking the Jeep with our off-road camper. Now, my wife has agreed to come and camp out with me for 10 days. You understand that's a big deal because it's just got a small queen-size bed in it. The shower pulls out the side. The kitchen pulls out the other side. Not a lot of room. So we like to get out with the dogs. So we were like, well, let's do a little rehearsal camping trip. So we just went out here, set up everything, had the kitchen all set up the hammock between 2 trees, just sat down with my blushing bride. And my son, we get a call from my nephew. He's taking my son to the emergency room for chest pains. Long story short, my son was diagnosed with pericarditis, and so we immediately packed up camp and drove all the way home. Excellent rehearsal, though. Excellent rehearsal. Got back, got the emergency room at 1 o'clock in the morning. The ambulance finally showed up. My wife says it was 2, but anyways, it was after 1 in the morning. And they finally got him in the ambulance to take him to another city that had a better cardiologist. Spent the next 2 days in the hospital. Morphine was not getting rid of the pain. Fentanyl wasn't getting rid of the pain. Finally, they gave him the anti-inflammatory that's geared straight for, if you don't know what pericarditis is, that is the sac, or that's inflammation of the sac around the heart. It starts swelling up, that in turn, the pressure going in on your heart, but also pressure going out on your lungs. And it's very, very dangerous. And why? Why did he have it? A week prior, he had come down with the flu or COVID, whatever it was, and a viral infection. And a lot of times following that, one of the lasting effects is people get pericarditis. Also, it's happening to a lot of people that have taken the vaccine. How you doing, Steve? Steve is here. Come on in, Steve. Short answer, yes, my son, back during COVID, for his death metal band to play concerts, play all these other big venues, they all had to get the COVID vaccine. That's just what they did. So I didn't get the shots. My son was young enough; he should not have gotten it, and now I'm not blaming the pharmaceutical companies for my son getting pericarditis. I'm just saying if anything else happens to my son, I'm going to kill every freaking one of them. That's just me. Full disclosure, no big deal. Steve, we're not doing pistols again tonight, dude. If Steve wants to do pistols, guys, we're going to do pistols. Steve loves holding guns up that we're not allowed to touch. I forgot to start recording here. Let me start recording this live stream. All right, guys, welcome to our Tactical Tuesday live stream. This way, if YouTube shuts us down for Steve touching a gun, I can take the recording and upload it as a unlive video. You gotta find a way to play with them. So, anyways, guys, Steve, how you doing, brother?
Good, brother. Good. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Trying. I've been out filming all day. We filmed 8 videos today. 8 Friday videos, 8 full-length videos. So we've had a long day, sun up to sundown.
Very long.
We just got done. I went and grilled a steak for Coach. Did you see Coach? Is he out there? I'm looking. He's not sitting at the shed right now. So he must be making his way over here. How you been?
He's probably over there taking a nap.
Probably. All right, we've got our first question coming. Let me get this out of the way. All right, then we'll come back to Steve, guys. Front towards enemy. Does Carl have a rebuttal to what Tacticon said about one of his videos in the recent podcast? It was a video of Carl talking about using a knife instead of a handgun. They said that was done. Listen, guys, I don't give a shit what anybody else says. Most of the people have only watched the 1 minute short. And you understand you understand that's a longer video. They're making fun of my 1 minute short. And you talk to most real operators that have actually done anything, and they'll all tell you that they all run a knife on their kit, whether it's on their belt or their body armor. And the ones that say, well, all you got to do is blade away and draw your pistol, I agree with them 100%. If you take any of our high-risk concealed carry, that's one of the drills we do. So they can't say, well, Carl's stupid. If he knew anything about guns, he would just blade away. Guys, you understand, if you're laying on your back and the guy's on top of you, you're not going to blade away. I'm just saying. So I don't need to, I'm so far past having to defend myself from any of these guys on the internet. So, if they want to do a collab video with me, I'm completely cool with it. But the same guys that say you don't need a knife with you are the same ones that say you don't need backup iron sights on your rifle, because, well, in my 3 deployments, I don't know a single person that had to use their backup iron sights. Okay, all right, I know guys that had to. I know guys that had to use their backup iron sights. Just like the guys that say you don't need a light on your EDC pistol. And there's a bunch of videos out there, bunch of high-speed social media guys say Carl's wrong for saying you need a light on your pistol. You do not need to be searching with your muzzle flagging everything. I don't care. I don't care. Because their argument is, well, if somebody startles you, your gun's going to go off. Ah, bang. How is that any different than you holding a flashlight and a pistol in the other one? Somebody startles you. Ah, you see what I'm getting at? So you're never going to have everybody agree with you or disagree with you. And, the techniques that they are saying I'm wrong and that I should be doing, yes, 100%. That's my first choice also. But as far as blading away, drawing, and shooting from retention, 100%. 100%. But understand, you can't always do that. So what do you do if you can't? What are you going to say? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Bad Guy. Would you take a step back? No, you have other options. And I'm just saying, I was taught by my company's master assaulter that having a switchblade knife or a folding knife on you was not good enough. You had to have a fixed blade knife on your kit. It had to be on your kit or on your belt. You had to have a fixed blade knife because there were times where you would need a fixed blade knife. Roger that. All I'm doing is passing on what was taught to me. So, honest, if they like me or don't like me, I don't care at all. I really, really don't. I see Steve is spamming the entire internet. Cool. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right, that's it on questions. Back to Steve. What's up, Steve?
Oh, man. How's your knee?
My knee is good. I actually did acupuncture on it last, I don't remember what day it was. What's today?
Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday.
So it would have been Friday. I got to show you guys a picture. Did you guys see this picture? You'll laugh your ass off. And don't give me shit about how skinny my legs are or how white my legs are. I want you guys to see. Can you see how many needles are sticking? That's a lot of needles, guys. And then my calf does not look any better. I mean, look at all those needles. Can you guys see those needles? Ain't that sexy? And he's like, yeah, we're only going to feel, wherever we push and you feel pain, your fascia is too tight there, we'll put a needle in there. And he took a magic marker, and I'm like, well, this is, no big deal. He pressed the first place. I'm like, dude, it hurts, but it ain't bad. I can handle this. He went to the next spot. And this is Doc. He's big dude. He's pushing. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then he hit the next one. I'm like, yeah, gee, what? And he's like, I take it that one hurts. He put a little dot with a magic marker, and I'm like, well, one place, not big. Yeah, hey, don't do that. And the next thing you know, I've got rows of magic marker down both sides of my leg. And So he starts putting these needles in, and his assistant there, he's like, "Hey, doc, that's 54. That's the most needles we've ever done in a single leg." And I still have a few needles in it. There are long-term needles that you can put in. They're very, very short. They've got like a little Band-Aid over the top of them. And you see this one right here. It's easier to see. But when you start getting pain, this is what I've been told to do, is you push on them. That makes the needle go a little deeper. And you hold it for 30 seconds. And right now I've got 10 needles left in my leg. And I'm here to tell you, I asked my wife, I had a good weekend. I just tweaked it, carrying my Bearcat 50 cal case out. I just shot some body armor. And it was doing so good till Carl brought out the 50. Now, guys, we knew it wasn't, it's a level 4 multi-hit plate. We knew it wasn't going to survive against the 50 cal. But it's just no fun not getting through the plate. It took everything that we could hit it with. So, you know, what are you going to do, Steve? What are you going to do? When in doubt,
Bob and weave.
if they show up with a Bearcat, you bring out something that can kill a Bearcat. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm joking, guys. Don't be shooting Bearcats. Don't do that. Okay, so back to you, Steve. What you up to, brother?
Yeah, I just wanted to, since we, last week we went over the Bruno 7.5 millimeter FK.
The
Bruno.
Burno.
Bruno.
FK Burno.
And we went over the CZ52 7.62 by 25 millimeter.
That is some
Which
good
is-
coffee.
which is a
You know what it's
favorite of
missing, though?
mine.
You know what that coffee's missing? Patron. I got a little bit left, guys.
Help the knee out.
Help out the knee.
Help the knee out.
Oh.
Be like a pirate walking around here on a stunt leg. So we doing our discussion on the CZ52 and the 7.62 by 25, and you got the Tokarov 7.62 by 23 millimeter. I happened to mention the Coonan pistol, and I don't remember what Carl's comment was about the Coonan. Something about being big, as if everything is based on EDC. Okay. When shit hits the fan, EDC, you know, like you were saying earlier, some people in combat on missions, they say, well, you're never going to do this in a gunfight. You never know what the fuck you're going to do in a gunfight.
Exactly.
Okay? And I remember doing one of my briefings down at US SOCOM at the headquarters down in McNeil Air Force Base, and we were fighting for the Glock 18 at the time. And all these different programs were briefing. We're talking about Navy SEAL mini subs, helicopters, AC-130s, and of course they made me last because I'm briefing the little Glock 18, and we only needed like, you know, $1.2 million out of the $6.5 billion of their budget. And I remember this one lieutenant colonel walking up to me and saying, well, Sergeant, I don't think a pistol is a priority. Nobody's ever won a war with a pistol. And I looked at him and I said, sir, you know what? That's a very good point. That's an absolute good point. But I happen to have some affidavits because I was prepared for a knucklehead like you to say something like that from soldiers from Vietnam to Afghanistan, Iraq, and over, where soldiers in personal combat saved their lives and their brother warfighters' lives because they had a handgun. Okay? So, a lot of times, in some things, people are going to have really good arguments. But at the same time, at the end of the day, if their argument defeats the purpose of everyone coming home, then the argument is nil. So, every time we're going over a subject on the show and something pops up, I always decide to do a follow-through. So, today, I wanted to talk about the Coonan.
You want to use your mic, Steve? They'd be able to hear you just a little bit better.
Just a wee bit better?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Push that over there.
I was waiting for one of them to tell me, but maybe they could hear you all right. But now I see they're bitching a little bit. All right, let's. Steve, he's new at this, guys. He hasn't done that many live
Well,
streams
actually,
with
when we
us.
first started, I was watching the little needle
bar
there
whiskey.
when we were talking because I looked over to see if you had your mic on, and so anyway, so I ran across the Coonan, I don't know how many years ago, at the SHOT Show, and in the firearms magazines. And back then, I was a big 1911 fan. Nobody was really digging on the Glocks, the 17s and 19s, the SIG, P220s, 228s, 229s. And I ran across the Coonan. And it just so happens that one of the guys in 5th group was PCSing someplace else. And I was in the group S3 one day, and he came up to me because, I was working, gun stuff for the unit. And he said, hey, you in the 1911s, blah, 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 this and that, this and that. I said, well, yeah, kind of, sort of. And he said, man, I'm getting ready to leave. I'm liquidating everything. He said, I got a pistol. I'm trying to get, move, and nobody seems to want it. And I was like, man, I don't know. I said, what do you got? He goes, well, I got a Coonan, 357 Magnum. You got a Coonan? A Coonan? Like the Coonan? He said, yeah. So, of course, we went out back to his POV, privately owned vehicle. He opened up the trunk. Everybody looking around, looked inside the trunk. And I said, okay, question number 2. How many magazines do you have? He said, I have 5. Question number 3, how much do you want? And he told me, and I'm not going to tell you, and the deal was done. So
did you get a good deal? Or
I got a brother-in-law deal on that one.
Oh, nice.
I got a brother-in-law deal on that one. So one thing that if you guys remember back in the day, okay, when the revolvers ruled for personal defense and law enforcement, there was the 38 Special, which the military found out in the Philippines against the Moro Indians, who used to get doped up or whatever they dope up over there, and they paint themselves with this red paint and run out the jungle with these machetes. What do they call them? Bolos?
Bolos, yeah.
And the guys would shoot them with the 38 Special pistol. Of course, it was officers because they didn't carry a rifle like the soldiers did. And of course, once you start killing officers, the Army pay attention. So from that point on, that's when they came up with the 45 ACP. And the 45 ACP was designed specifically as a man stopper. Okay, specifically as a man stopper. Very similar to the 45 Colt from the good old Western days, And so later on, as time progressed, law enforcement wanted something different. I think it was a Smith & Wesson model 1913 was a 45 ACP revolver with the half moon clips. Industry came out with a 357 Magnum. And for law enforcement officers, it was like glory, because everyone I've ever talked to has always told me the 357 was a one-shot stop. Okay? Now, moving forward, SIG, along with, I forget which ammunition company, came out with the 357 SIG, which is basically a 35 caliber bullet. The 40 Smith & Wesson necked down the 35 caliber to mimic the performance of the 357 Magnum for semi-automatics, because you couldn't get a 357 Magnum ammunition like this into a semi-automatic pistol because it is a rimmed cartridge. See the rim? For extraction. Along came Dan Coonan. Now, I've met Mr. Dan. We had some talks at the SHOT Show. I forget what he told me about the history of why he decided to go after that. It's very similar to Ronnie Barrett's story. Out filming for MSG, 50 cal on the Navy SEAL boats, and Pony Maple said, man, it would be nice if somebody can build a rifle in 50 cal. So Ronnie, being a photographer, said, I'll do that. And you all know the history of the Barrett rifles. So Mr. Dan Coonan, and I'm going to have to talk to him about this, exactly what led him down the road to come up with this, says, you know what? I'm going to make a 1911 style handgun, pistol, firearm, that shoots the cartridge versus taking a modified, 40 cal case and try to imitate said cartridge in the semi-automatic. So basically, what he designed is known to a lot and sometimes a few, and all you new people, okay? Because when I talk about, showed you guys the pictures a couple of weeks ago, my graduation before I went in the Army, and it was in 1978, and Carl was like, 1978? Man, some of these kids wasn't even thought about yet. So it goes on.
Sixth grade.
So good that people like me and Randy and Sue and Don Alexander and Paul McManus and all the guys are still around to kind of give you guys some background and some knowledge based on the real world experience. So anyway, Mr. Dan Coonan created a company called Coonan, of course, not Coonan like Conan, but Coonan. So he designed a 1911 pistol that would take a true 357 Magnum cartridge. Look at that puppy. And this round that's in there is
Honey Badger.
The Honey Badger.
That's a
from
Honey
Black
Badger.
Hills Ammunition out of South Dakota. And we talked about that in the previous shows. So that is the magazine for the Coonan M1911 357 Magnum. Now, the 357 SIG was designed to try to emulate the 357 Magnum. It's not quite there, but what I've been told by some friends of mine in law enforcement, that the 357 SIG has shown to be more effective than the 40 Smith & Wesson. But at the same time, 357 SIG still does not equal the Man Stopper, the 357 Magnum. And the pistol, even though it costs us all, I'm not talking about the Coonan because it's not an EDC. Okay? Well, hey, do more push-ups is all I say. Do more. The guy told me once.
You only got to shoot once, right?
Yep. Gus Taylor told me in a meeting one time, we were talking about SOPMOD stuff and how we're going to build a program, and it weighs this much and this weighs this much. And I said, well, that weighs this much, this much, this much, this much. And the guy stood up and said, hey, Master Sergeant Hall, I said, yeah. I said, if it adds that much to the gun, you guys got to do more push-ups. I said, yeah. What am I going to say? So, the Coonan, 1911. Da, 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 da. As you notice, monitors, I am not holding the firearm. I'm holding the rack thing. So, as you guys can see, that is a 1911 pistol that some of you are going to say, I didn't know they make that. Like we did with the Rock River AR 762 by 39, LAR 47.
AK mags.
Yeah, everybody's like, I didn't know they made AR take AK-47 mags. I said, yeah, they did that in like 2003.
I didn't know.
The Coonan is...
Mine's not in here, is it? Shit. I don't even know if I didn't get one, did I? No, I didn't get one yet.
You're supposed to get one. I'm going to have to check on that. So, the Coonan... Where am I at?
Oh, back. The camera's way up there, Steve.
Okay. So, we can't touch the firearm, people, because that's the YouTube rules. So, this is a 1911 style pistol with a 5-inch barrel. Now, remember, most law enforcement revolvers back in the day, your Smith & Wesson, were 4-inch barrels. This is a 5-inch barrel. 7-shot magazine. It is a linkless 1911 versus a link style, like, John Brown. We all know about that. But when I ended up getting this from my buddy Ski, it's like when I talked about the Smith & Wesson M&P 5.7 by 28. When I saw it in the store, and Miss Sarah at Gun and Knife Country showed it to me, and I picked it up, cleared it, of course, and I put it in my hand. I told her right then, I got to have one. I have got to have one. Pistols are like knives. You know what fits and what doesn't fit. Okay? I grew up on 1911s, shooting in the marksmanship unit when I was in 82nd Airborne. Your hand kind of mows around in 1911. And everybody that makes pistols, that's the goal. You want your Glock. You want your SIG. Everybody wants to take what John Browning figured out in 1911 that that grip angle works for the human form factor. Badges? We don't need no stinking badges. So this right here has been with me on many trips to the woods, because if you're hunting, you'll be surprised how many times you end up needing a pistol. Because I don't believe in walking away from the base camp or walking away from my tree stand and my rifle just because I need to take a leak or I need to, start dressing out an animal, anything like that. Once, right down the road here from Carl's place over in the other county right next to Trigg, or Christian County, I had dropped a deer late in the evening, and I just happened to look up. I had my headlight, happened to look up, and 3 coyotes had come out into the field. They were standing like 40 yards from where I was, but 200 yards from the tree line. They had come that far out into the field. Just something in the back of my head is like, Steve, look up. And I looked up, and they were just standing there watching me. Bad idea. Out comes the Coonan 357 Magnum. Now, that wasn't the honey badger, 125 grain jacket and hollow point. This is a standard load for the 357 Magnum. And out comes the Coonan, and I have I forgot what these sights are. I have these sights put on, and I popped the first one. Coyotes are fast, cause I'm fast, okay? Cause I'm over the deer. I look up and I see him, and I tilt my head down a little bit, and I take it out, press check, make sure around the chamber, and I popped up, put them in the light. Bam! Hit the first one. I was going to transition the second one. Boom! They were gone. I said, well, when the next one stops on his way to turn around and say, what happened? I'm going to pop him. Ha! He never stopped. They never stopped. But that 357 round went through the chest, out the back end of that stinky ass coyote. Because I went over there to double check him. Of course, I'm going to approach from the back, make sure his eyes are open. He's dead. As soon as I got up to him, I was like, oh my gosh. Sounds like my stinky cat. But this has been, I had to have a holster made. I forgot, not made, but I ended up getting a holster for it. And so I carried it on purpose. I mean, I had other options out in the woods, but like the 5.7 Smith & Wesson we previewed a couple of weeks ago, I like 50-yard pistols. I like the ammunition that I know that I can push to 50. Now, we've shot here on Sundays when we shoot with Carl. We shoot, what's that drill called?
Final 5.
The final 5, where you...
5 shots at each yard line. If you hit at, like, let's say you hit at 30, you get to go back to 40. If you get 5 shots, if you hit the 10-inch head plate at 40, you get to go back to 50. And then the 60, and then the 70. That's what Steve's talking about, that drill.
So I basically zeroed the Coonan at 50 yards. That's where it stayed with me for, I want to say, maybe 7 or 8 hunting seasons. And, as we discussed last week when we were talking about EDCs, it's not what you would call an EDC, but I've known people that, open carry or concealed carry who carry 1911s. And this is actually, the profile is a lot flatter than a 1911.
Mm-hmm.
And all you guys familiar with the 1911s, you know that the mechanism on the Glock, we always talk about Glock because that's the most predominant pistol out there, is a linkless system. Most people that deal with 1911s know that it's a link system. And the and when I say,
guys, I'm not forgetting about your questions. I'm going to let Steve wrap this up, and then I'll get back to your questions. I will. I'll get back to them. I promise. I promise.
And when we talk, this is a Coonan barrel, and you notice that this is a linkless barrel system, because 1911 you have the pivoting link right here in the back. So this is when I say linkless system, this is what I mean. This is a linkless system. So the the 357 Magnum was known for the 125 grain jack and hollow point at about 1,300 feet per second. This is the Black Hills Honey Badger that's running about 150, 175 feet per second faster than your standard, well-known shot, one-man stopper, 357 Magnum load. And from what I understand, because I have not been to the SHOT Show since COVID set in, I was going to let them get it all sorted out. What I understand is that Coonan now makes this same system with a longer barrel, which I like longer barrels. I haven't, been in contact with Mr. Dan in a few years, but I did text him earlier on the way to the show, let him know that we were going to feature the pistol. And they have a longer barrel with a muzzle brake on it. So that, again, I like 5-inch, 6-inch barrels. Same thing. And it appears that they are now making this in a 1911. I'm sorry, not 1911, in a 10 millimeter and a couple of other calibers. But this is the only semi-automatic handgun, to my knowledge, not unless what's the other company that does the Automag stuff, 1911 style handgun pistol that takes 357 Magnum. Ta-da! So, all you guys who always send us questions like, Steve, what's the model number? What's the blah, blah, blah? There's a search engine called Google. Okay? Type in Coonan, Coonan, 1911, 357 Magnum, and I'm willing to say you're going to get some information that pops up. So reach out to Coonan and say, hey, we saw your pistol. This is the original, okay, on Tactical Rifleman, and we have some questions, okay? And said, I always say, Steve Holland hooked us up again. I'm pretty sure that we'll reach out to Mr. Coonan and say, hey, can we set up like a discount for Tactical Rifleman subscribers and reviewers?
You haven't done yet though, have you?
No.
You guys think he should do that before the live stream?
Remember, we were supposed to have Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition on tonight. Then you told me that Coach is going to be on here tonight. So technically, I'm not even supposed to be here. As I was reminded out of the door, my wife said, you don't have Tactical Rifleman today. He said it last week. I said, that's okay, sweetie. I said, Carl and I talked about it after the show.
Yeah, we talked about it after the show.
That's when because he made that comment about Coonan, I did reach out to Mr. Dan today.
Okay.
And
I believe
I was just glad that it's the same phone number since I haven't contacted him in like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Okay. Now see, all y'all can't beat Steve Holland.
No.
Okay, you can't beat Steve Holland. You can't do that.
We got another one here. Front towards enemy again. In your experience, what firearms, if any, do you see people bring to classes that they constantly have problems? But the Coonans don't run very well. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Stop it.
No, guys. You see how plain that pistol looks? The plain ones run. No, because you guys are waiting for me to say, yeah, all the high powers shit the bed, and the guy shows up with a Raven 25. Nobody brings a Raven 25 to a Tactical Rifleman class. They don't.
It should.
No, they should not.
We should video it.
I have one. It's a great throwaway. It's a great gun to leave on somebody. Anyways, the guys that have guns that shit the bed in classes are the guns that they buy stock, and then they put every aftermarket part onto it. You take a Glock and you start replacing the barrel with a aftermarket threaded barrel, and you replace this with that, and I've got to have a titanium firing pin so I have a faster lock time. You realize you're never going to outshoot the lock time of a stock firing pin. So, but you'll see guys that literally they will add everything. They add muzzle brakes and compensators and ported mag wells and this, that, and the other. Those are the guns that shit the bed. The guns that shit the bed. You take the Glock out of a Glock. You take a SIG and you trick it all out. You take the SIG out of a SIG. You take the CZs and the guys that they make them look pretty like all the guys on the internet have. You've got to have this. You've got to have this aftermarket part. You've got to have this. They're being paid to do those reviews on that, okay? But you've heard me say, guys, on a Glock, I replace the sights because Glock sights suck. And you can get the optional True Glow sights. You can, but that's extra. And I replaced the connector with a 3.5 pound connector, and that's it. That's all I changed. That's all I changed. I tried that Timmy aftermarket, like their latest and greatest Glock trigger, that was supposed to be good enough for combat pistols, and it let me down when my gun was underwater and for 45 minutes, and finally got dry. Came out. It was cold as shit. The gun jammed twice on me. The regular trigger didn't jam the year prior when my gun was underwater for a couple hours, and then I came out of the kayak in the snow and everything, and it was still cold. Is it the trigger's fault? I don't know. That's the only variable that had changed. But is it a nicer trigger? Yeah. But is a stock Glock trigger more reliable? Yeah, it is. So anyways, you ask which guns shit the bed. It's the ones with where guys try to add all the extra parts to them. Not bashing you for doing it. It's your gun. Do what you want to, but understand my personal experience when I watch guys show up to classes. The guys that show up with they got a suppressor and bipod and optics and 45-degree iron sights and a red dot on top of their scope, and they've got this and that, and they're the ones that have a hard time with their guns. Their guns don't run, they jam, because they haven't put the time in mastering the manual of arms using it. Paul American, question, after all the firearm advances over the years, where do you, Steve and Carl, see the next advancement in firearm technology being made? Steve, I'll let you jump on that one, but real quick, we are 5 to 10 years away from seeing man-portable lasers on the battlefield, modern battlefield. They are basically the only thing they're having to work out now is the battery, and that's the truth. But now, see, the advantage of that is you don't have to compensate for wind. You don't have to worry about the speed if it's a mover. So long as he's within range, pull the trigger and you've hit him. But understand the price tag on these things is going to be through the roof, like all technology is. So for us civilians, for me and Steve, fags, former action guys, we are civilians now also, understand your primitive firearms that still run off of gunpowder, they are still going to be around for the next 50, 60 years. So as far as other advances, you'll notice Barrett and these other companies now have, like the Barrett MRAD won the U.S. SOCOM contract for the new advanced sniper rifle. Okay, 3 calibers, one 308, one 300 Norma. The heavy caliber is 338 Norma. You can swap barrels, swap calibers. Great gun, great gun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go back through our video archive on Tactical Rifleman, our other YouTube channel, and you can find, I did a whole video on it. It is a great gun. I was also on Gunny Time. It's not that picture, but this is me on Gunny Time talking about the AK-74, the TV show. That same day, we filmed another episode at a Gunny Time about the MRAD when they first got the contract. Great gun. You go to the Bearcat now, they now have a new gun called the Bearcat ELR Extreme Long Range. And what their thing is, guys, is they're making rifles that you can shoot from 1 mile to 2 miles away. And I'm talking to Chris Barrett about it at a live stream in Nashville. And they're like, you can take drones with meteorological sensors on them, barometric pressure, wind direction, temperature, stuff like that, and put them every 200 to 400 meters all the way to the target. And now you know exactly what the wind's doing. And it allows you to make a perfect wind correction. And now you're able to hit that target 2 miles away. Understand a half MOA gun, all right, at over 3,000 meters away, that's 3,000 meters, that's still a 15-inch shot group. And that's if it's a half MOA gun, and it's hard to make something that big half MOA. You put any variation in wind at all, but you'll notice they're shooting big targets. But also, let's say you hit a guy. Because you understand, if you miss by 6 inches, he's not going to stand there and go, oh, dude, this is going to suck. I got a guy shooting at me from 2 miles away. Damn, I think I'll just stand right here. Oh, this is going to hurt like hell. They're not going to stand there. They're not. They're going to be gone. You get one shot. That's why it's called one shot, one kill. But let's say, hypothetically, the guy would stand there and go, oh, damn, man, this is really going to suck. If you hit him, if all of a sudden you shoot my general in the chest, you understand, I'm in charge of his personal security detail. My battalion of personal security guys, we look out and there's a row of drones every 200 to 400 meters going back out to one bush up on the side of the mountain, like a row of drones going the whole way. What are we going to do? I'm going to send a company of infantry there to surround it. And as they're driving out there, I'm going to knock the snot out of it with artillery. That's just what they're going to do. Your next firearm technology, guys, is going to be remotely controlled bullets, not like accurate. Like I can shoot 2 miles. It only took me 6 shots to hit it, but I can say I'm in the 2 mile club. I'm in the 1 mile club, guy. You can go to dnlsports.com. I knocked down the C-zone target at a mile away. I was shooting a 408, and it took me 4 shots to hit it. Who's going to stand there for 4 bullets? It's not going to happen. All right, drone technology, stuff like that. That's what's on the horizon. Guys, I don't worry about future tech. I worry about mastering what I have right now. Steve, your comments on future technology on the modern battlefield when it comes to firearms.
You know, we all want the phaser pistol from Star Trek. We want the blaster from Star Wars. You got the lightsaber, and you know, you got all these. I mean, I love myself some sci-fi shows. You know, I'm all about, you know, the Mandalorian. This is the way. When a light goes on, okay, you turn on your light on your EDC or your carbine, your shotgun. That light goes out, and even though it is darker where you can't see because the light doesn't have enough brightness, that energy still kept going. So even if you had laser phaser type pistols, if you miss your target, that energy is not going to like go past your target 1 foot and just turn itself off. Okay? And I mean, you got to program it. Okay, the guy's at 15 meters. I'm going to shoot at him. And if I miss him, I want you to stop and dissipate your energy at 16 meters. Okay? That energy is going to keep going. And all you scientific guys can tell me something about, what do we call it? The scientists, mass times velocity and everything else. I have seen some recent info put out on 50 cal sniper ammo that, as Carl said, is programmable ammo. Almost like your missiles that they use on the helicopters and the jets and the Javelin. I'm a big Javelin fan. I'll tell you, I saw some work overseas with guys with javelins that I'm all about a javelin. You know, I think I mentioned on one of the shows before, me personally, my team had to go into Iran to take out some silkworm missiles. So in isolation, because it isolates you away from everybody else, even your other teams don't know what your mission is. And then they give you, it's a reverse process. This is the end result we want from your team. You go back and plan, and then you tell us
how you're
going to do it. Well, for some reason, they told us up front, we want you to knock out the fire control system on the silkworm missile with the Bear 50 cal. So, and this is the mission I told you about where they're going to halo us in.
You were going to use the Dragon.
Yeah.
Dragon missile.
And at the end of the 3 or 4 weeks we were in isolation, and we started briefing it as the master sniper for the team. My turn came up from the team leader briefs, the XO briefs, the team sergeant briefs, operations, how many men, how many meals, how much ammo, the supply sergeant, everybody. When it came to me, the actual execution of the mission, I brought up a picture of a Dragon, which most of you guys know a Dragon is an anti-tank missile.
It's kind of like the Javelin, but it's the older version.
The older version. It's got wires on it. It's not laser fire forget. We still don't know what the Javelin's secret is. They got that shit from Roswell, from Area 51. That's why they work so well. They've been waiting all these years to put it to work. A long time ago, they didn't know how to figure it out until Apple came up with this computer application. Anyway, I digress. So I told them, I said, okay, we're going to take this out with the Dragon. And they were like, whoa, stop. You're going to do it with the Bear 50 cal. You're going to go with the Bear 50 cal sniper rifle, and blah, blah, blah. I said, we're going into Iran to blow up silkworm missiles. And probably ain't coming back, okay? So to make this thing semi-successful for the guys to get recovered by the Navy Maritime tuna-eating guys, I think they call them SEALs, and the distance based on looking at the overhead maps, the closest place for cover for us, the firing teams, because I came up with 3 firing teams, was about 1,125 meters. Now, could I do 1,125 meters with a Bear? Yeah, yes, I could. But the component I needed to hit, and they couldn't give me weather conditions, they couldn't give me anything, and a minimum of 1,100. I didn't say maximum, minimum. So I might be further back. Could they pull that control unit out after we hit it and stick another one in and then fire? I don't know. But if I hit it with the Dragon, and we practiced with Dragons with the inert trainers, and this is on Fort Bragg, we were able to hit that component all the way out to I think the 100% at 1,800 meters, because you're tracking the missile. The missile is guiding it, okay? I can see that missile hit a wind shear 900 meters into the target and it push it to the right 3 feet. I can make it correct again at 800 meters. And this one colonel, he was just bent out of shape about, we got to brief our snipers are going to jump in. Then I told him, I said, this thing about dropping us over the Persian Gulf at 20,000 feet, hop and pop, under parachute at 18,000 feet and hey-ho. I said, we can't do that. He said, why? I said, because they can see us on radar. Oh, they can't see parachuters in the radar. And I told you, we did it at Fort Bragg. We had range control track us on a jump at night. And the guy went back, the guy goes, okay, here you guys, here's the airplane. Here's 12 of you guys getting out of the airplane. Here's 12 of you guys in free fall. Here's 12 of you guys opening your parachutes at 3,000 feet. I told him, I said, if they could track birds on radar, they could track 12 guys, because the MT-1XX was a big square. It wasn't like the little tiny squares that the skydivers use. So future capability is still going to be kinetic. I can't see us doing particle. I mean, not saying that you can't take the lasers that they burn all the stuff in Hawaii using those lasers.
All right, guys. Mitchell Kuda asked, buy once, cry once. EOTech or primary arms, 1X micro prism. Can't see, so 200 and in for range. Number one, there are other microprisms out there besides primary arms. There are other, but so don't say brands. I'm not big on brands, guys. I'm not big on brands. What I will say is red dots versus a holographic weapon sight in EOTech. We use that as slang because they were the first company to come up with them. So you got a holographic weapon sight or red dot. Choice between them. If you're in a two-way gunfight against a modern enemy like in Ukraine, you're going to want to go with the EOTech because you cannot see the dot from the front. They're finding that out the hard way over there. Everybody with the red dots on their guns, you lay in an ambush, people coming down the road can see all these red dots in a line laying on the side of the road. That said, for you, and again, all of you got to look at your personal mission. He mentions he's old. He's got old eyes. A lot of you, you get older, you get astigmatism. So if you look at the red dot in a red dot, we use the slang aim point because they were the first big company. It was actually Seymour, but we call them aim points because the main one that the military used was the M68. But a red dot is just a dot. And EOTech, same thing from the back, that it is a projected hologram of a dot. If you've got astigmatism, it looks like a comma or it looks like a series of dots. So if you have a bad astigmatism, you're going to want to stay away from red dots. Now, the advantage of a prism is a prism, if you turn the illuminated reticle off during the day, right, you still have basically your donut of death with your little mark in the center. Now, you mentioned specifically the primary arms 1X, and I like the 1X prism because the thing is bomb-proof like a ACOG. That's the reason why the Marine Corps chose the ACOG. They wanted a little bit of magnification, but more important, it had to be bomb-proof for Marine infantry. The reason why they didn't go with a low-power variable optic, because at the time, there weren't any that were sturdy enough to meet their requirements, and they were insanely expensive. The ACOG bomb-proof, but it is still 4X or 3X or 5X, depending on which model you buy. In close, you want 1X. You do want 1X. So when Primary Arms came out with that 1X micro prism, you guys have seen my review on it. You know, I love it. I love it. One thing I really like about it, you don't need batteries if the battery dies. If you have a good battery in it, you can have it illuminated, but understand it can still be seen from the front. All right? But all the way down to dusk, early in the morning, dawn, twilight, all that stuff, you can get by with just a black reticle. But it also, Coach just went back in the shed over there. That's all right. It also, you don't have to worry about astigmatism. It's a black reticle. It doesn't get lit up until you turn it on. So there's that. As far as primary arms, they have the SLX is the one that I did the video on. That's the one that is made in China. They have different quality levels. SLX are made in China. GLX is made in the Philippines. PLX, their Platinum Series, is made in Japan with Japanese glass. They have out now a GLX 1X. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm on the waiting list. I told them, hey, I want to do a review on this thing. I'll pay for it. I don't care. But I'm on the waiting list. Me personally, I would go, again, that's me, and I hate saying brands, but with my astigmatism, as bad as it is right now, I actually like the Prism, also for the fact that if the battery dies, it's no big deal. Even with the battery working, most classes, because we're shooting white paper, most classes, I leave the battery turned off, and I just use the black reticle.
Hey guys, a real quick follow-up. I was incorrect. This is not a 125 grain. It's a 127 grain 357 Magnum Honey Badger at 1,365 feet per second.
He corrected you.
No, I looked it up on the internet.
Oh, you looked it up.
And one more thing on the Coonan 357 Magnum. Remember, this ammo's doing 1,365 with a 4-inch barrel. This is a 5-inch barrel, so you're going to go a little bit faster. And in saying that, I contacted Dan Coonan today, and I haven't contacted him in like 8 years. And I asked him if he was watching. He said, absolutely. I said, you got anything you want to add to our discussion with our viewers and subscribers? He said, tell the crowd, that's you folks, if you own a Coonan, accomplished men will respect you. Hot women will want you, and the neighborhood dogs will stop trying to pee on your leg. Get a Coonan.
Get a Coonan.
Get some respect. Get a hot woman and get the dog off your leg. Bow, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yo, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay.
All right, we got one here from Mark. Mark threw down $5 minus shipping and handling. Evening, gents. Former Rakkasan here, 23 years Army. What are your thoughts on the 5.7 as a self-defense round? Steve loves the 5.7. It is, you understand, especially if you load your own, you can take green tip and reload them into your little 5.7 casing. Just understand you're not getting the secondary cavitation that you're getting with a M16A2 because you don't have that long of a barrel. All right, it'd be the same thing if you had a 5.56 round with a 4-inch barrel. An AR with a 4-inch or 5-inch barrel, you're no longer getting the secondary cavitation, that shattering effect when it hits a fluid. A mammal is a fluid, by the way. But that said, guys, it zips right through level 3 body armor. It's good stuff. What are you looking for, Steve?
Your coaster.
My coaster? Okay. You got a 5.56 you can put on? Oh, see, all right. See, he knows I have better balancing than Steve has.
That's because
I can't stand up.
Because he got pins in his knees.
I got Dane Bramage. Give me that green tip right there. All right. I got Steve's green tip.
Hey, Mr. Dan, that's a good idea. A Coonan in 5.7.
That would be easy. He could do that.
30-round magazine.
So 9mm guys on far side, and then obviously 5.56, M855, the green tip on the other side with your 5.7 in the middle.
Now keep in mind, guys, that and I'm just stating the facts. It's a tragedy, but the shooter in Fort Hood, the Army major that was a Muslim, he shot 7 people. He killed, well, shot more than that. He killed 7 people with the 5.7 pistol.
And don't bitch that Steve said the guy was a Muslim. That's the reason why he did it, was because he was a religious fanatic.
Yeah, he's on the Intifada.
If he was a religious fanatic that did it, that was a Baptist, Steve would have said he was a Baptist. But he wasn't a Baptist. He was a devil-worshipping Muslim that was an extremist. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, okay. I'm completely good with that, by the way. Completely good with that.
Anyone that would murder civilians, you know, I mean, there's no other way to describe them. It's just flat out evil. But
if your priests and clerics are saying you can get into heaven by killing innocent women and children, you're going to the wrong church. I mean, that's how it is, guys.
Keep in mind that the 5.7.
Here we go.
Most of your 5.7 pistols are about Glock 17 size. You got the FN, which is the first one, and then you got the new Smith & Wesson M&P, which I love. It's got the same form factor feel like the Coonan. You got a, depending on the ammo, 35 grain projectile doing 1,600 feet per second. Now, when you take the design of the ammunition, and you guys know that I am a big Hornady AMAX fan. That polymer tip bullet, it will fragment and basically front toward enemy, explode inside the
You
body.
get a nice softball of non-viable tissue that the surgeon now has to remove. Can you imagine 4 softball-sized balls of non-viable tissue in the chest? The surgeon has to cut all that out. You understand? There's not a lot left in there.
Look at the color on that.
For him to, oh, that's sexy. Steve's already got him with green tip. Sweet.
So the projectile, you can take something that's not known as a man stopper, and I keep going back to Hornady, but I have to say Hornady. When I first started doing the 6.8, and I built the CZ 527 760x39 bolt gun, changed it over to 6.8, and I remember I was hunting with Sean Renock. I said, Sean, I'm not going to shoot a deer past 200 yards because I believed in the 6.8, but I didn't have that confidence at the time. First doe I hit was like 165. She dropped on the spot. Second one I hit was a really, really beautiful 8-point buck running away from me, probably at 75. The next one I hit was a doe at about 265. And from that point on, the only limit I put on that projectile by Hornady, that 110 grain VMAX AMAX, and I always say in 308 Winchester, I like the 155 grain AMAX. The only limitation I put on it, as far as the distance, was on me, the shooter. So you can take something like a 5.7 projectile, and again, the guy in Fort Hood killed 7 people. Wounded more than that. I do like the 5.7 because it will punch level 3 and 3A body armor. Because not just law enforcement is running around out there in body armor, especially when you're dealing with cartels and gangs coming across the border on the southern border. You're going to, at some point in time, you're going to start running into people with body armor. And, I like the 5.7 because it's small, it's light, it carries 22 rounds. And again, it's a 50-yard, to me, it's a 50 to 75-yard pistol. Because to me, as Clint Smith used to always say, I use a pistol to fight my way to my rifle.
I don't carry a pistol because I'm getting in a gunfight. I'm carrying a pistol because I'm not planning on getting in a gunfight. If I was planning on getting in a gunfight, I'd bring my rifle. You carry a pistol because you're not planning on getting in a gunfight. But it's like, why do you have a fire extinguisher in the kitchen? Why is there one everywhere you're going? Why is there one in the vehicle? Because I'm not planning on going to a fire. Otherwise, I'd bring the fire department with me. But you still want to have this stuff there. We got another one come in. This one's from the Donut. He's one of our moderators. Donut, how you doing? Thank you for your service here, helping us out. You, Susan, and JT.
The Donut.
Mr. Carl, have you seen the new TLR high? It's 300 lumens now, but rechargeable. Thoughts? He's talking about it's a little recharge. It's made for EDC pistols, guys, and I like it.
Is it a sight or a light?
It's a light.
Okay.
I don't have one yet. I want one. I don't want to bug Barry Duke at Surefire because he brought one, and then we gave it away at a live stream, and he gave it away, and the whole time I'm like,
oh, this is in Nashville.
Nashville. I'm like, I want that light so bad. I'm like, did you bring 2? Did you bring? But I didn't do that. He was hooking you guys up. So, anyways, I want one. I thought about asking for one for Christmas, but then I blew the axle in my Jeep, and I ended up having to put a Dana 60 in the back. It would have been better for me to get a light. Anyways, I don't have any personal experience with it yet, but I am probably going to drop my own money to buy one for my EDC pistol. Right now, my EDC lights are awesome on my guns. I don't have any gripes with them at all. But I have guys like you that ask, and that is what I'm being told, that is the latest and greatest out right now, and I don't have any experience with it. So I want to. The next one's got the Gustash 2531. He threw down $20 American. Sir, I just picked up a prescription of amoxicillin that says it would expire in 1 year. Can I keep that medication for several years if needed? There are certain medications that you can keep past their expiration date. An example of one of them is Tylenol. The Army, remember guys, I was a Special Forces medic. You go to Battalion Med and they have these jars of 1,000 tabs. And on the side of the bottle, there would be a date and it would be crossed out and there'd be another date. It'd be crossed out, be another date. They're not like marking it out because they own the grocery store. What it is certain drugs, big Army pharmacology would, the pharmaceutical companies would run tests for potency, and they'd be like, this batch number, this lot number of acetaminophen, Tylenol, is still the correct strength. You can push this batch number, lot number, back 12 months. And they would, no shit, let the whole Army know, and the whole Army, and that, you understand, that saves the Army a lot of money, right? So they would do that. And I'd see these bottles in Battalion Med. I'm like, what's up with this? And I didn't know, so I asked. That said, there are some drugs you do not take once they pass their expiration date. And one of them is tetracycline, for example. Tetracycline actually turns toxic, becomes a poison when it expires.
Really?
And that is very, very dangerous. Tetracycline is different than amoxicillin, but understand that it is still in the same family, the same category of antibiotic. So that's why when you see people talk about, well, hey, you can buy fish antibiotics online because they're not regulated. Okay, what I would rather you do is find a good family doctor, friend of the family or whatever, and say, look, I'm going on a safari in 9 months. I'm going on a safari and I'm putting together a robust med kit. And if I get over there, understand there's no higher echelon of care. I want to take these antibiotics, and I promise you I will call you on my sat phone before I take anything. And you tell me which one to take, what dose, but I need to have them with me. I can't go to Walgreens because I'm in freaking Kenya. There's no Walgreens in Kenya, all right? So, and 9 out of 10 doctors will actually say, that's so cool, you're going on a safari. That's so cool. And again, it might help because I was a Special Forces medic, but I have found that a lot of doctors, you tell them, hey, I've got a nurse going with me, or one of the other people in my group is a nurse practitioner, but I would like you to get me these things. A lot of doctors will help you out. But please, please double check with people. And antibiotics is not, when my antibiotics expire, guys, they go in the trash. And let me rephrase that. My antibiotics, when I realize, oh shit, this stuff's expired, I immediately get new ones. Because you understand, sometimes that might take a month or so. I have doctors, and one of them I'm pretty sure is in the chat right now. There are good people out there that help out the whole tactical rifleman team. And so yeah, please take care of your stuff, guys. Excellent question. I appreciate you bringing it up. All right, I'm being told that there's a bunch of people that are coming to Tactical Rifleman during the Mountain Readiness Expo. I want to talk about the Mountain Readiness Expo right now. It's still open to the public. It is not sold out yet. They have a 2,000 people limit. This is a big deal, guys, big deal. It is being held up in North Carolina. You go to mountainreadiness.com. And like the whole first webpage is all Mountain Readiness Expo because it literally starts this Friday. If you are within a 12-hour drive or you've got the money you want to fly, I think you fly into Raleigh or Statesville. There's a number of good airports around there. It's an hour from Sularu's house.
Oh, okay.
It's not that far away. It's 7 hours from here. It'll be 8 hours in my Jeep because I'm towing my camper. I got to get gas every hour, guys. Literally, I have to stop for gas every hour.
He really does.
If you want to come, some of the classes are awesome. For example, my wife is going to one little webinar on how to make herbal medicine infused honey. Why? Well, because that's one of the cool classes that's there, but also because her husband, moi, I've got 4 beehives up on the hill. And if you want to start looking medicinal uses of honey, so anyways, there's so many great classes like that. I'm doing one women's only AR-15. Emery's doing reverse grip knife fighting. We're doing a whole bunch of great classes, but don't come for us. There are all these other great classes. If I had known how good these other instructors were going to be there, I would have just said, look, I'm coming to teach my classes afterwards. I want to go to these other classes. Because they've got guys making baskets out of vines and survival radios, and there's just so much great stuff going on. They've got things specifically for kids, very formally oriented. Angry American and his family, they're going to be out there camping. A bunch of patrons are going to be out there camping with us. Me and Emery, we're going to be out there for the whole expo. And then Randy Worst is coming in Sunday night, and we're doing 5 more days of classes. Combat Pistol 101 on Monday, completely sold out, don't even ask. Pistol Carbine on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's got a night shoot on Tuesday night. Steve will be here doing the live stream next Tuesday with my son and Jamie Gap. I'm not going to be here for the live stream, guys. I'm not going to be able to do it. Steve is in charge of the live stream. He's going to be right here. That's all you're going to see is Steve right there going, yeah, doing the Steve.
Colin's gone.
Gone.
Let's play with his stuff.
And then Thursday and Friday, we're doing high-risk concealed carry. That is all EDC pistol, cover garments, all that stuff. Now, that is not a basic class at all. Not at all. You have got to be proficient with your pistol before you show up for that. So anyways, everybody coming in for that. That is, I'm excited. I got a couple more here, Steve. J556, hey, Carl. Ever do any videos on comms? What do you think of getting a ham license? I've done a couple videos where we talk a little bit about the need for communications with my patrons. Patreon class last year before, we actually did running your ham radio through the internet on a laptop. But also we did one-time pads, how to make your own one-time pads. I want to do more radio stuff on tactical rifle. The reason why I have not is because I can do comms. I've got radios. I talk about the radios and the stuff that I have. Most of my stuff is GMRS or FRS radios. I have 2 ham radios. I'm looking at them right now. They're Anytones. They're literally right there. I run Mylans for my family. All they've got to do is plug it in a cigarette lighter, take the magnetic antenna, put it on the roof of their vehicle, sit it on the chair next to them, put it on the channel that my family has agreed to have it on. Matter of fact, I take it out of the package or it's already on that channel. I put it back in the box. It is in my daughter's trunk. It's in my wife's trunk. It's in my son's trunk. All right. And they know I'm driving to get them. And if they start coming back this way, I'm pushing 50 watts. They're going to hear me a long time before I can hear their 5 watts. All right. We've got our commo plan, and that's not open information for you guys. All right. But one thing I will say is I want to do more commo videos, but when I do videos, I want the subject matter expert that I would want to teach me. You understand? I am subject matter expert on certain subjects, and that's why I have 800 videos on our YouTube channel. But you understand, there are other times where I bring Randy Worst in. There are times where I bring Chad Mormon in. There are times where we'll bring Steve in for stuff. There are times where we bring Big Al in, all these other subject matter experts. I have yet to find a commo guy that stays up on comms, latest and greatest, well enough. Because Steve used to be an 18 Echo. Steve did not retire as an Echo. Steve retired as a Zulu. Sularoo was an Echo. Sue did not retire as an Echo. He retired as an 18 Zulu.
You got away from comms as soon as you can.
Yeah, but you understand there are nutbags that love commo.
Yeah.
And those are the guys I want to find, and I haven't found a guy yet with the charisma and the ability to teach it well enough. But it's still on my to-do list for you guys.
You guys, one thing you have to realize is Special Forces, you got, team leader, XO, team sergeant, ops sergeant, intel sergeant, 2 medics, 2 engineers, 2 commo guys, 2 weapons guys. The 2 engineers and the 2 commo guys hump the biggest load. No matter where you're going, you could be you're going to blow up a bridge. The medic.
I got my 8 bag. I'm not carrying that.
Yeah. Everybody else, the commo guys don't get bothered to carry the extra demo because they're already humping an additional 35, 40 pounds of what the team isn't humping.
We share carrying the batteries, but you understand if we have to split up real quick and run, him only having half the radio doesn't do him any good. He has to have the antenna. He has to have the encryption devices. Has to be complete.
Complete.
Yeah.
Don Alexander and I, and the guys were texting the other day, we were talking about the Jordanians. We were on this mission, and I'm telling you, it was like Death Valley. It was Death Valley. We were short on water, but we 24 hours to our PZ resupply. Turns out that the guys we were working with from overseas, or from that country, every time we made a stop, they would take something out of their rucksack and dig a hole and bury it. When we got to the point where we were almost within time to link up and get more water, food, everything else, I noticed that my battery, we had to get up out of the gullies to get up high, and my battery's going bad, so I went to one of the Jordanians. I said, hey, give me the battery that you're carrying. These BB542s, these things are like 8 pounds. Well, you got 4 or 5 of them, plus all the stuff you need to carry, it gets heavy, so you spread the load. And the guy was like, oh, I don't speak English. And I was like, blah, 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 back and forth. So basically what it came out to, every time we made a security halt in the last 5 or 6 days, we're coming out of this desert mountain hill, foothill, they would bury this stuff. They even buried the demo for the mission to blow up what we were supposed to blow up. My team leader lost his mind. He lost his mind. And Randy Ross, God bless him, good old country boy, and we were laying in this little cut out of the sun, and Randy goes, hey, Steve, you see those bees? I go, yeah. Wow, Randy, we got those sweat bees, but they were like honeybees. And I said, he goes, the bees in the water thing? I said, you know what, you're right. We learned that in the Boy Scouts. So Randy and I told everybody else, hey, we're going to follow these bees. They thought that the sun had baked our brains. We followed those bees for about 300 or 400 meters, and we found in a little grotto of rocks a little pool of water that was about 3 inches deep and about 2 or 3 feet wide. And so we went back and told the team, of course, then they give us their canteen, and we go back. You could barely fill these canteens up in about maybe 2 minutes, and then the thing will fill back up again. And we go back, then we get the Jordanians to tell them to bring their canteens, and we go back, and they're sitting in a little puddle of water washing their feet. I was like, oh my gosh, my team leader locked and loaded on these guys in 1911. And I told my medic, Bill, I said, Bill, you better go talk to him. He's about to shoot these guys. But the
monkeys.
I know commo.
Monkeys.
If I dive back into commo, I know I can get up speak. We recently had a meeting with Randy and his cousin, who works for the county emergency broadcasting, to discuss all the latest comms and with the VIP friend of ours, and I just doesn't, the passion for it isn't there for me as far as like kinetic energy. Kinetic energy to me, and making it work. So it's like you guys are talking about the kinetic energy.
There are guys out there that are still passionate about it. Though,
I mean, there's some guys out there that make my head hurt.
Yeah.
And I used to do the till the key freezes up.
He said, he goes on, what do you think of getting a ham radio license?
Do it.
Yes, have that basic license.
Start
It
now.
is, but it's still on my to-do list, right?
Start now.
Understand, you need to have ham radios. It is a great hobby to have because the more familiar you are with using your equipment, the better, all right? But the problem with having it right now is nobody else has it. There's very few people in your group that you visit and hang out with. It used to be if you were, let's say you did off-roading, Jeeps, whatever, you had to have a CB. If you got the latest and greatest GMRS radio or FRS, you were the only one. Everybody else had CBs. You had to have a CB to talk to them. Otherwise, none of them could talk to you. Now, and I still have a CB in my Jeep. It's wired. It's actually back behind the glove box. The controller comes off. The antenna is down behind the seats. I never have to hook it up anymore because everybody that I go off-roading with are running FRS or GMRS radios.